Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Is with news that broke on late Tuesday night involving Arkansas star Boogie Fland. Okay, so Arkansas, listen, we don't need to relitigate everything, but it's been a disappointing year. It's been a frustrating year with the loss to Missouri on Saturday. Arkansas fell to 11-7. They lost their fifth straight game to open SEC play. You don't need me to tell you all of that. It's been disappointing. I feel bad for Arkansas fans with how things are going. Yet they somehow got worse on Tuesday night because John Rothstein, CBS Sports, was the first to report that Boogie Fland, Arkansas's starting point guard, second leading scorer, if you believe the mock drafts, the best NBA prospect on this team. He has a hand injury. He is out for the year. And you just talk about a piece of news that Arkansas could not afford to have. Yeah, they got it. It's bad news. And this is just the season from hell from Arkansas. Arkansas fans, if you're watching, I feel so bad for you guys. I was a believer in the preseason. It has not gone to plan. Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's disappointed. But let's go ahead and dive in, okay? And so as far as this injury is concerned, let's go ahead and dive in. One, it was interesting. John Calipari actually did address this after the game against Missouri. I did not have producer Matt pull the video, but essentially, basically, Calipari said something to the effect of, Boogie Fland, Boogie's hand has been messed up. We got to get it looked at. And so that was kind of the first inclination that something might not be right. But I don't think anybody expected season-ending injury, potentially season-ending surgery. And let me right off the bat just kill, let me get on the elephant in the room and let's just kill this narrative forever, okay? Because the second that I saw this news, I saw a lot of people, and we know probably which fan base most of them were from, saying that Boogie Fland is faking an injury. He's protecting his draft stock. The team stinks. He wants to protect himself, doesn't want to hurt his draft stock. I'll be honest. So I don't believe it. And I think the argument for that would be, well, the team stinks. He's going to protect himself. Also, he's playing well at this individual time. Here's a couple reasons I don't believe it. First of all, Calipari did address this injury after the game against Missouri. Two, let's be honest, like Boogie Fland is a great NBA draft prospect. This isn't Zion Williamson. This isn't Cooper Flagg. This isn't somebody that is a surefire top 5 pick, top 2 pick, top 1 pick. That was what made the Zion Williamson conversation so interesting when it happened. He got hurt, and he was the clear-cut number 1 pick. There was nothing he could do to improve his draft stock, and so that was the argument that he shouldn't keep playing. But three, here's the other thing. I think there's a lot of people that said, well, Calipari said he heard it in the Florida game, then he played 2 games after, and there's no way that he just had this injury this whole time, and da-da-da-da. And it's like, well, listen, I'm not a doctor, believe it or not. I know, hosted a podcast on a Wednesday afternoon, stunning that I don't have a medical degree, okay? But what I will say is I've been following sports long enough to know, like, these injuries can happen, and you can be playing through something more serious than you realize. And you just, you think you think you could play through pain. You think you have a pain threshold. Then you go to a doctor, then you go for an MRI, and you realize it's much worse than it actually is. I mean, we've heard of stories of players playing with broken feet before, right? I mean, listen, I hate to be, negative here, but like Sam Bowie, like maybe the most famous draft bust ever. Like, it all started, he hurt his foot, thought it was fine, played through it. Turns out he was playing like 20 games or something on a broken foot. So injuries can happen if it is a hand, if it is a wrist. I mean, again, not a doctor, but we can all see a lot of bones, a lot of whatever in that area of your body that you could think, oh, it's minor, it's not a big deal, it's just a little sore, it's a little swelling. Go get an MRI and you realize, oh, wait, that's actually way worse than I realized. So I don't believe that this is some sort of made-up injury. I've actually been told, and we'll find out Wednesday night when Arkansas takes the court again against Georgia, I've actually been told he's going in for surgery. And this is not like a fake surgery. Like, I think he'll be on the sidelines, if he's in the sidelines tonight, with padding on his injured hand. And I don't think this is fake. I don't think this is made up. But I think there's a few conversations to have now that we know that he's gone. First of all, listen, I think a lot of things are out of a lot of people's control. But I will say, part of this, again, I don't want to blame Calipari, but part of this is on Cal, and this is a conversation that I know Arkansas fans have had the last couple days, is, listen, Cal took a very calculated risk over the summer when he basically only took 9 scholarship players. Now, I know they have some players that are on scholarship or whatever, but basically he was like, we're going with 9. We're playing with 3 guards, 3 wings, 3 bigs. I think everybody knows who they are, but DJ Wagner, Nelly Davis, and Boogie Fland at guard. On the wing, it's Carter Knox, it's Adu Thiero, and it's Billy Richmond. And then the bigs are Big Z, Jonas Adu, and also on top of that, Trevin Brazil. And Coach Cal was basically, we're not adding any more bodies to that. And I defended him at the time. I still understand why he did it. If you remember back last year with Kentucky, had some off-season injuries going into his final year at Kentucky. Aaron Bradshaw actually broke his foot. Agana Nyenso hurt himself, and so he had to add Trey Mitchell. He had to add Big Z. And then as the season goes on, all of a sudden, it's the end of the year. You have 11 healthy players that all want to play, and you still can't figure out rotations, et cetera. So I understood why he did it, but I think we also understood at the same time that there was going to be essentially no real wiggle room if things went sideways. And so things have gone sideways. Injury happens. And I think the disappointing thing for me is, look, I do think that the back was against the wall. It was going to be an uphill battle just to get an NCAA tournament bid after an 0-5 start. But I will say this was kind of the part of the schedule where I said, okay, if something positive can happen, this is going to be it. If you go back a week and a half ago, I said that LSU game last Tuesday night or last Wednesday night or whenever it was, said that's the most important game on the schedule. You win that. At the time, Arkansas was 0-3 in league play. Well, listen, you're 1-3 at that point. You get some momentum. Missouri's a good team, but then you have Georgia and Oklahoma at home before you go to Lexington. And so even if Boogie Fland was healthy, the backs were going to be against the wall once you don't beat LSU. The LSU game to me was the one that I just said, look, that changes everything. That changes the entire conversation about this team, because now if you can't beat LSU, you're going to struggle against a lot of good teams. You lose to Missouri, you're 0-5, and then you're sitting at 0-5 in league play, 11-7 overall. Now, all of a sudden, you've probably got to go, 8-5, 9-4 over the last 13 games of the season. It's going to be a struggle to do that. And so to me, it was always going to be an uphill battle, but this is just so disappointing. And I feel so bad for Arkansas fans because I know how much excitement was going into this season. And I think the disappointing part was, like I said, is I do feel like this was a moment on the schedule where you could get right if you were just healthy and had everybody going in the same direction. Yes, Missouri was bad, but you look at Georgia, you look at Oklahoma, Georgia's coming off back-to-back losses over the last couple games. I know I've been critical of Mike White. I think he's done a pretty good job this year, but that's also a team that I think is going to, Water's going to find its level with that team throughout SEC play. Oklahoma's another one. Porter Moser historically has been really good out of conference. You get into conference play, he struggles. Well, that team's struggling, sitting at 1-4 in SEC play. And so it just felt like, okay, can you get these 2 wins, get some sort of momentum going into the Kentucky game, not this coming Saturday, but the following one. And now it's like, man, all that momentum is lost. If you're looking for any sort of silver lining, the depth is going to be an issue. But I will say some of those players that are struggling, now you're going to have no choice but to play them and play through them. Nelly Davis, listen, if you were lacking confidence, well, guess what? You got to take all the shots now. You got to take all, it's your time. And so if you miss a shot, just play through it, because we need you to play like 38 minutes now, 37 minutes now, 40 minutes per game, because there's really, again, no wiggle room with the rest of this team. I do think in some ways, listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that losing a freshman All-American who's probably going to be a top 25 first-round type draft pick, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's a best-case scenario. I will say I do think roles become much more defined. DJ Wagner is now your lead guard. By the way, I was talking to a buddy of mine who, follows college hoops, remembers DJ Wagner from last year at Kentucky. And I said, I think DJ Wagner's actually played very well this year. He's been one of the few bright spots for Arkansas. Well, now the ball's back in your hands. It's go time. Take care of it, DJ Wagner. Nelly Davis, you got to play through your mistakes. You got to play through whatever. If you miss a shot, don't put your head down because you ain't coming out. And then Adu Thiero's got to keep playing the way he has. Jonas Adu's obviously got to continue to contribute, and you got to hope to get something from Trevin Brazil, from Big Z, whatever. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say that everything is hunky-dory, because it isn't. Arkansas actually plays in just a few hours from now, as you can see on the screen, 9 p.m. Eastern. So you hope they can get right at home against Georgia. I hate to say it. I don't think the crowd's going to be very good. They've been struggling with crowds there at Bud Walton Arena here all season long. I know there's frustration with the fan base about this team and about this, really about the entire athletic department with Hunter Yurachek, et cetera. But I just bring it up because I don't know how you can't be disappointed. And I do feel so bad for this team, and I do feel bad for this entire fan base.